Commander Phill P, rescuer, exporter, occasional ex-pilot, former wholesale, former fuel rat, greatest scout.
Not a speech maker, but I'd like to say thank you for everybody that turned up. Phill would be overwhelmed by the amount of people that turned up because he never liked to blow his own trumpet. But I appreciate every single second that you've taken tonight to be here, and thank you.
I really appreciate everybody that is here. As everybody knows here, my name is Richard. I knew Phill when I was a very new player in this very new squadron 5 years ago, and saw a video about him doing what Phill does, which is teaching and showing off what he built. Even though Phill was a very humble person, he always was very creative and always he gathered a lot of knowledge and always tried to provide it with. He used to do these lore videos covering the elite lore and all the locations in a very pristine way. There's no other channel that does this, and this was to promote their expedition. So, pretty much, this is a testament.
So I am one of the guys here from PDES. I met Phill a couple years ago when I started getting away from exploration and just purely kind of screwing around and treating the game as a sandbox, actually getting into it. And he kind of took me from a basic bitch bounty hunter who hung out in the black to showing me how everything worked. And I just want to share my favorite moment with Phill over the years. About a year and a half ago, before the war ended, I was doing rescues on my old 970 powered computer, and in the middle of a rescue, in the middle of a burning station, my 970 delaminated and caught fire in my PC with Phill on Discord. So we had an actual and a literal overheat.
So your GPU came out in sympathy with the station.
Exactly. But Phill was an awesome member of the community, and I'll let somebody else talk.
Okay, Commander Henny, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Mine is not really as memorable as many of the others have experienced with Phill, but I still want to come up to the podium and say my thanks for all the fun moments we've had, and he has really guided me a lot in a specific side of Elite Dangerous that I really was interested in, but didn't know how to get into. But then one time, as we know, the target war started, and I didn't know what to do, and then basically Phill kind of took me under his wing and gave me just a lot of information about how to do rescues and just make sure that everybody gets out of that station alive. And I just want to thank him for that and all the fun times we've had with Phill.
We're all gathered here to celebrate the life of someone that we held dear, whether it was through Elite, whether it was through talking to him, maybe it was just a couple of messages on theorizing or whatever the case may be. In my case, I met Phill in the Apollo 11 50th anniversary expedition. We were on the same flotilla, and we just started talking. He introduced me to the post-disaster evacuation service, and we also just started talking a lot more. We developed a friendship that that lasted for years. I was also lucky to share that a brief moment with Sonia as well. You know, being there with him, bring laughs, jokes. Whenever we would be out in the black exploring with Matt Darvis as well, which is here, Pellegrino, Zed Dreven as well, which is no longer with us as well. So I do hope that the two of them are out there, maybe flying or doing whatever best they are at. And well, he helped us all in his own unique way, whether it was with his humor, his sarcasm, or his insight and kindness. So thank you, Phill, for all that. Thank you, Sonia, for sharing him with us. And I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Yannick.
This is a difficult one, but it's obviously we all feel the same in this way. I come today as someone who obviously knew Phill. I'm also come here as an emissary of, Distant Worlds 3 and of the Mercury 7 Explorers. Mercury 7 Explorers being the group of people who put on the Apollo 11 and 15 expeditions, of which Phill was a very memorable and important member. He was the kind of guy who helped out so many people, and he was kind of exemplary in the community. Well, I should say not exemplary, but in the fact that he exemplified so many of us, as in the spirit of helping out, of, as has already been said, he helped so many people in so many ways. And they were just from friendship, or helping them with technical details, knowledge of the game, helping to organize things in all kinds of places. And I was happy to have met him. I feel privileged to have met him. Many of you were probably much closer to him than I was, but I knew him well enough to speak very highly of the guy. I don't think I had a bad experience with him, if I'm completely honest with you. And no doubt you all have far better stories than mine, but I would like to say from Phill, from your former expedition leader, 07 Commander, and second star to the right.
First met Phill in 2020 at the Sidewinder Syndicate's enthusiastic Christmas trip to Colonia, but didn't really get much chance to speak to him until we were on the Magellan expedition together. And on the way back, we were required to cross the gap between the galactic arms, and the group of us who were together got paired up by jump distance, and I was paired up with Phill. And so we spent a good hour or so chatting whilst we navigated our way across the gap. And other than that, I didn't have much, didn't speak to him very much. But when I heard that he was gone, I felt a great amount of regret, because I should have made more of an effort to talk to him. I feel a great sense of loss, a great sense of regret that I didn't engage more. So, thank you for letting me speak. That is all.
I just wanted to share a story about Phill. I met him in 2019, Stellar Unknown expedition. I don't know how much he's told y'all about it, but I'm sure it was an earful of how just fucked up the thing was, right? We had to take the reins halfway through and kind of run it ourselves. And if you've read his scouting handbook that Phill wrote, all that's written in blood from all the people that were just terrible on that one. So the story, when we were doing the scouting for it, we came across a nebula that was primordial. One of the first things generated in the game. Multiple NSPs in one system. Really weird stuff. So we started to systematically map the thing. or not map it, but like go through it. We made a list, a whole system for it, and it was, you know, kind of annoying, but it was fun, I guess. And a few years later, I'm talking with Phill, and he's telling me like how much fun that was, how much he wished we could do something else like that again and everything. And I didn't realize like how much it meant for him, but looking back, I'm seeing a lot of stuff we learned, and I'm hearing you guys talk about how he taught you this and that. I was like, that's stuff we learned when we was on that expedition. And so people will speak about, you know, legacy. Oh, you know, they left a legacy. But like, I can see his legacy. You know what I mean? I can see it in all y'all. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, and I'm glad everyone showed up here, especially you, Sonia. And that's all I got to say.
To say, well, through all these words of affection, of remembrance, we all remember a man that decided to share his passion with us all, whether it was photography, whether it was the game, whether it were mascots or exploration. The friend group that we had, we unfortunately also lost one of us last year, I believe it was, Zed Drebin. He had a spirit of adventure, and I think we all share that with him in our own different ways. Phill was definitely no exception to this, as you know, he would always be there for expeditions. He would always be trying to discover things, whether it was in the lore or perhaps a nebula or whatever it may be. He was always curious. He was always there, questioning and wondering about things. Always paving the way for others to go and be there with him, to share that with him. And I think I would also like to reiterate on what Nat said. The legacy that Phill has is here. You know, it's with us. We are here for him, for Sonia, for what he stood for and what he believed in. Which, in my case, I think it's just that ceaseless curiosity and that attention to detail. As we all know, you know, he was a perfectionist. I actually remember, who was it? Well, someone was talking about like the video making process. Oh, it was Sonia actually. That you were saying that it took him so long to make those videos, and it is something that I can relate to, as
Yes.
he was there to support me with one of my early projects, and you know, now I moved on to Helldivers 2, but it was in the same vein of logging things, of being an archivist of sorts for people, for people to go and look back on certain things. So the effort was always there with him, whether it was through editing, through audio mixing. He loved this audio stuff. I remember music, all that. I remember we would just sit into the night, whether it was because of our own insomnia or because we were just engaged in the conversation so much that we would just sit there for hours talking about a topic, whether it was playing the game or not. He was always there to share his perspective and to listen to what we all had to say. So it's I'm grateful for this opportunity and for the fact that we got to share a little bit of his life with him. So thank you once again for giving me an opportunity.
I just wanted to thank you, Sonia, and Phill. You guys were a part of that process of me getting better in real life the past few years with my epilepsy. And on the nights when I was really frustrated and sick, I could always hop in Discord with you and Phill, and you guys would just let me rant about aliens and me and Phill theory crafting, and I can never express how grateful I am for that.
I can just talk about the 5 years of expeditions and adventures that we had. It will take hours, but I'm just gonna say the main message that Phill P exerted, and also the reason not only because a lot of people are here, but hell, that we're playing the game. People like Phill help other people to enjoy the game for what it was and to allow other people to just join there, to join adventures, to always have the door open. No matter if you were like a combat pilot, if you're like someone that just stick to private group or solo, Phil always had something to do for you. Uh, Thanks to this mindset, we were able to incorporate and invite people to activities that perhaps if the divide would have been there, would have been there. We got pirates and notorious gankers to just go to expeditions. We had people that never went out of the black to experiment the cool things. Hell, I even got my squadron to experiment all the high G worlds that were just nightmares and things. People like Phil help us get to this outside of this division of this. Oh yeah, I'm not an explorer. I cannot go here. Or yeah, I'm not a combat pilot. I'm not going here. The man inspired to do things, to become truly to what the phrase of the game is. Blaze your own trail, Mr. Phill P.S. And everything the man had to do was to just be there and support. Now be a gentleman. If Phil wouldn't have been gentle, so comprehensive, and so open to people, we probably wouldn't have been, we probably wouldn't have an Eldritch Gate. We wouldn't have, we wouldn't have a Sidewinder Syndicate. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have all these really cool experiences that people there. We wouldn't have a galactic catalog because it was his push that inspired me to, to not let things down. Even if a community of people decides that the game is dead, with the passion of people and with people knowing and wanting to have fun, things will not die. Phil wanted that every single commander had access to all the activities, combat, exploration, trading, BGS. He didn't want people to just, get themselves visualized or get themselves solos. He wanted everybody to play, to just participate and play the game. And in a community that we have people that all day are just trying to get people to stop playing the game or they reject or anything, Phil was a fresh of light, and everything that I do and I've done in the squadron, my expeditions, was because there was this old man in Discord that did rescues all day, that did all these war efforts, and all this documenting without any save, because this guy believed in me, and he believed in other players, and yeah, this is why we're all here, because Phil P believed in us, and thanks to that, we can believe in other commanders and made this community great. And I can just say with a lot of courage and a lot of proudness that it was just the friends that we made along the way which make this great. So thank you for everybody for coming here today.